I was sharing with you just a few minutes ago, there is a growing call in Washington for a special counsel to look into the matter of Loretta Lynch when she met as Attorney General with former President Bill Clinton on the tarmac at the airport in Phoenix during the midst of a campaign where there were a great many questions about some of the dealings that Mr. Clinton's wife, Hillary Clinton, may have been involved with. And then later, the FBI director, former FBI director, said he had been told not to call it an investigation of Clinton, but a matter when it came to the work that his office was doing, and that order came from his boss, the Attorney General at the time, Loretta Lynch. We're joined this morning by a member of the House Freedom Caucus, that is Representative Raul Labrador from here in Idaho, and he is among several members of the House who are now calling for an investigation or a special counsel to come forward and do the investigation. Representative, welcome back to the program.
Good morning.
This is not going to be, I think, easy to overcome opposition, and you'll face a lot of what you call mainstream media chatter who will say that you're trying to revive something here that's gone away. She's no longer Attorney General. What's your response to that?
Well, what we're finding is as we're looking at the different issues that happened during the election, I think all the issues need to be investigated. And the media has continued to pursue one line of questioning, and that line of questioning deals with Russian interference with our elections, which I think everybody understands that they did happen. But what they haven't been able to find is any kind of collusion or anything like that. But as we're looking at these issues, we have seen that what really happened, and that what we do have evidence of, is that the Attorney General and the FBI Director were not straight with the American people as to what happened there on the tarmac, as to what happened with some of the investigations. And I think if we are going to look at what happened during the elections, I think we need to look at every single issue. So we in the Judiciary Committee, we asked our leadership to start asking, the White House and in particular the Attorney General of the United States to look at all matters that pertain to the election, not just the skewed partisan things that that the mainstream media wants to look at.
I was watching a TV program, maybe a matter of days before then FBI Director Mr. Comey gave his testimony, and I was watching Trey Gowdy in this interview when he dropped a little bit of a hint that there was a lot more to be seen here and that we might be hearing about it. So there were apparently people in Washington already who knew that Lynch may have tried to Bigfoot the FBI director when they were looking into this matter, and that this has been simmering for a very long time.
Well, it has been simmering for a long time, and we need to do something about it. We need to look at it. What amazes me is that as you look at everything that's happened over the last 6 months, is the media has just taken one position that everything the Republicans are doing is wrong and everything the Democrats did was wonderful. And the reality is that the evidence that we have of wrongdoing is mostly on the Democrat side. Now you're finding we're finding that the Nation, which is a very left-leaning newspaper, it's a news publication, they just came out with a report that said that the evidence shows that the data that was taken from the DNC website was actually an internal hacking. It wasn't a Russian hacking. I mean, you're finding all these different things that are happening out there, and we really need to know what happened during this time. And like I have said all along, if there was wrongdoing on the part of the Republicans, I think that needs to be looked at. But it looks like a lot of the stuff that was happening out there and all the wrongdoing was happening on the side of the Democrats. Mm-hmm.
The Nation, that is what the publication is. It Katrina Vanden Heuvel, is that the name? And she's been no friend of Republicans.
She is no friend of Republicans, but it's a very lengthy inquiry into what really happened with the DNC servers. And according to their investigation, it's pretty clear that the fingerprints are all from the inside. That it was somebody on the inside that was leaking the information, and it wasn't something from there. I mean, think about that. She is definitely not a friend of 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 Republicans. She's a left wing, almost socialist person. But so this is interesting. We're finding more and more evidence of wrongdoing on the Democrat side, but the media is hiding it all. I was shocked when I saw it on the Nation because as you said, they're not a friend of our party, but at least they were truthful in what they were saying, and we're finding that more and more. So we need to get to the bottom of what happened. And we need to investigate this pretty clearly.
Our guest is Representative Raul Labrador, joining us for a few more minutes this morning. It's 8:22, 59. Bill Colley with you as well on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. And just after 8:30, Dr. Jonathan Tripp is up this morning with Better Health. You were also, I know, prepared to talk today about maybe reviving some of the discussion on a healthcare replacement plan. This morning I heard on Fox and Friends it's very likely this topic is going to come back up after the recess. Is there something ready to go?
Well, we have been talking, obviously, for a long time about doing something with healthcare. I don't know that there is something ready to go. There are some couple of good ideas out there that we can work on. I do know that we're also ready to go on tax reform. I'm a little bit more optimistic, just to be honest, about tax reform than I'm about healthcare reform right now. I think there's more common ground amongst Republicans on tax reform and some of the things that we need to do. But on healthcare reform, there's a couple of good ideas that could go somewhere. And one of them is just to take the money that we have right now that we're using on Medicaid and healthcare and all these things at the national level, is sending it to the states and letting the states control what happens with healthcare, and sort of repealing Obamacare, getting rid of all the regulations at the national level, and then letting the states decide what exactly they're going to do. So a state like New York or a state like California could have Obamacare Plus. They could do all the things that they want to do, but they get to pay for it. And anything that would increase the amount of money that is being spent right now, they get to pay for it with their tax money. In Idaho, we would be much more conservative. And if you have a conservative governor in the governor's office, you would be able to repeal all the regulations and use that money in a more conservative, effective way. That's something that's being discussed, and we could reduce the cost of healthcare in Idaho. You will see states like California and New York and others. They would have to pay more for what they're doing because they would have more regulations, but at least you would allow the states to be the laboratories of democracy. The states would actually do, which is where we should be dealing with these issues anyway, not at the national level.
And of course, we're looking at some, when it comes to the exchanges, some big increases in costs. So the sooner the better.
Absolutely.
And could that be done by the time everything wraps up this fall?
I don't know that could be done by this fall because we look at all the things we have to do. We have a debt ceiling increase fight that we're going to have. We need to finish with the budget. We need to do, I think we're going to move on to tax reform. I think there's a lot of things that are going to happen. I do remind people that we do have 2 years to complete this process. A year and a half now. I think it was unfortunate that somebody set a deadline for this because these are difficult issues that we're dealing with. And I think that the unrealistic expectation when a deadline was set was probably a mistake on whoever set that deadline. I don't even remember who it was. I think these are issues that we need to deal with. We can deal with all of them. And we do have still a year and a half left before this term is over. Mm-hmm.
You'd probably enjoy this. My next guest, who's coming up and is a physician, said to me some weeks ago on the air, these were his words, that he doesn't know of anyone who ever died because of a lack of health care. although he wasn't assailed by the left-wing media. But he's a medical pro, and that's his take on this. And I think that a lot of people out there, if there were just cooler heads, we might be able to get a deal done, right?
Absolutely, and that's this saddest thing about this whole healthcare debate is that what people are doing. They're trying to assail Republicans because we want people to be harmed or we want people to suffer grave consequences. No, what we want is more people to be helped. We want more. We want health insurance costs to go down. We want health care costs to go down. And and I know you're making a joke about what happened at the town halls, but I remember, one of the incidents that right after that town hall, I'm watching one of these, stupid shows, the comedy shows on HBO or something. I can't remember which one it was. And you have one of the comedians, they spent 10 or 15 minutes just railing against Republicans because they wouldn't hold town hall meetings. It says, people want to hear from Republicans and, making fun of Republicans. And then they spent the next 10 or 15 minutes making fun of me because I made a statement that he took out of context. And I just thought, what is wrong with our society where, we are holding town hall meetings so we can reach out to the community, so we can talk to people. And this guy doesn't realize that what he was doing is he was creating an environment where people don't want to hold town hall meetings.
Right.
So let's make fun of Republicans because they don't hold town hall meetings, but let's go ahead and make fun of the Republican that did hold a town hall meeting and spend 12 hours talking to his constituents, many of them who disagreed with me, but we had an honest, conversation about the issues. And I think that shows everything. That shows everything that's wrong with our society right now, where you cannot have these open, honest conversations with each other, and where people are just finding the worst in each other and the worst motives in each other. And I think that needs to stop.
Representative, I want to thank you for your time this morning, and we look forward to talking again soon.
Hey, it's great talking to you.
Have a good day, sir. Representative Raul Labrador joining us this morning on News Radio 1310, KLIX, and newsradio1310.com. It's 57. We have a short break coming up. Better Health with Tripp Family Medicine on the way. Dr. Tripp actually sent me a rundown of what we'll be talking about. And if you've got some joint pain, you might want to be tuning in this morning because he has some thoughts on how that could alleviate some of that. Also wanted to mention our friends at Bish's RV are celebrating the new Meridian location, but the celebration is taking place at all Bish's RV stores across the state. And they welcome you to join them at the Twin Falls location for unreal deals. It's a grand opening celebration at Bish's RV where memories begin. It's 8:30. Bill Cowley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310, KLIX and newsradio1310.com, and we're at 60.